G'day guys. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to try and learn how to use the controller a little bit because I'm doing a story right now, and there's props here if you know who this character is in my Elder Scrolls story. Since I played multiple of them, but I just set up camp, man, out in the Rift, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, it reminds me of being a kid, just sitting outside. I got this old home my parents used to own out in the bush, and just like before I moved to the city. Oh, how the hell? Oh, there must be a companion nearby that I accidentally activated last time. Must be walking across the. It might be Cecilia. Anyway, it reminds me of just before I moved to the city, where like you go outside at night time and you hear traffic, and you see lights, and it's just, it's just times as a kid where you could sit down and just look off to the horizon of the darkness and hear the crickets, and you buy a campfire and just looking at the moon and you're looking at the stars, and your mind goes crazy. All right, and so I thought this would be a perfect time to have people and you listen to what I got to say about Beyond Skyrim, because Beyond Skyrim is a project that I'm really excited for. Now I have been banned in the Discord and it was deserved. And hopefully one day I'll get off it. But I don't know, man. Like it's the hope of the Elder Scrolls to me. Yeah, it's the hope of it. It's the future of Elder Scrolls to me. Like Elder Scrolls 6, we know nothing about it, so I don't really care about it. You know, it's nothing super important. It really isn't. It's probably going to be set in High Rock and Hammerfell, most likely, and hopefully they'll do a lot better job, filling out the world than they did the Starfield planets. But obviously they will. It's not going to be in space. These projects, man, are games on their own. They will breathe so much more life into the game Skyrim. I've always thought to myself, when the Elder Scrolls, the Beyond Skyrim series comes out, even just one country, that I don't think I'll return to Skyrim for like many, many months. Who knows, for even a year. Like, I might set foot into Cyrodiil when that one eventually comes out, and not ever come back to Skyrim, because these games, I'm going to essentially call them games. This is essentially what they are. They're not DLC mods. They are full-on game mods. They're full-on game mods. And, I mean, I'm just going to get lost, and I'm never going to want to go back to Skyrim. I'm never going to want to come back to this beautiful land that that I've modded for so long. This beautiful country that, a lot of mods have helped to make it possible the way it looks right now. It's just because Cyrodiil is going to be his own goddamn game. So is the rest of them. Everywhere and pretty much in, I'd say, Tamriel is being done, apart from the Somerset Isles, or Alinor as it's called, the land of the High Elves. But anyway, like, you're going to get lost in these worlds, and they're going to be made by modders. Skyrim suffered a lot on its release due to its, its corners cut, and it's just, I don't know, I think it was a really lazy game when it came to story or immersion or anything like that. I'm always going to compare it to the first game I played, and that was Oblivion. Sure, Oblivion looked like a potato, but it had a lot better story for it and way better immersion into the Elder Scrolls universe. Of course, those that play Morrowind might disagree and say Morrowind's better. End of the day, it is the best game that you've ever played on a series. Is always going to be your first game. Now, mine is Cyrodiil. Oblivion, and I can't wait to return, man. I can't wait to return to back to the lands of Cyrodiil, because to me, like I said, it's my first Elder Scrolls game. It's pretty much home. Skyrim, I'm a foreigner. I've been here way longer. Like the same thing being said, you could be someone that leaves home at 18 of your country, and head to an entirely new one and be there for 24 years and still feel that you're not home until you get off the boat, get off the plane, and you're all of a sudden back home. And that's kind of how it feels for me. And I can't wait to go back to Cyrodiil. To the stories there, the immersion there, this entire team of people that have made this entire game and story, armors, immersion. It's everything that Skyrim's got, plus more, for free. I mean, it's crazy, man, to think about that. That we're going to be able to leave Skyrim and go to an entirely new country with entirely new quests, entirely new stories and everything. I mean, Beyond Skyrim Bruma is one of the best mods out. And I've seen people say the story is better than Skyrim's base story on its own. And that was just the Bruma City story. Each city in, as far as I know, Cyrodiil will have their very own story. Plus you'll have two other stories, two main quests, sort of Sundered Kings, which has something to do with the Emperors, and then you've got the Knights of the Nine quests, which will also air in their storyline in Cyrodiil. I mean, this thing's going to be 10 times better than Skyrim will ever be. Simple reason. It's built with passion. That's the sole reason why it's always going to be better than anything that, Skyrim. It's completely and utterly built by passion, and that's what I'm so excited for when it comes to this sort of mod. That we're going to be going into something that isn't built on a budget or on a time frame, and that's what excites me the most with Beyond Skyrim. Not just that. I mean, imagine Cyrodiil comes out in say 2025, 2026, right? Elder Scrolls Beyond Skyrim, Heartland. And then you're there for 2 or 3 years, then eventually the next project comes out. Could be Morrowind, could be the Three Kingdoms. I mean, there's so much there that it's going to be like an infinite supply of just Elder Scrolls. And I do see Skyrim living on way past Elder Scrolls 6, especially if one of these mods drops. It's going to extend the life of Skyrim even more than it has, and Skyrim is on unlimited life. I mean, there's still Discords that I'm part of where people are joining, the Elder Scrolls for the first time. They only just played Skyrim, and they probably might have been like 4 or 5 when this game come out, and they're playing it for the first time. There's still people buying it. There's still people jumping into it. And the crazy thing is that we're going to have more of that, especially when it comes to the Elder Scrolls. Sorry, I keep treating it like it's a game, because it pretty much is. Beyond Skyrim. I mean, the ability to just waltz around Cyrodiil, go to Kvatch, go to Skingrad, go to Cheydinhal, even go to Bruma, which is still possible, because that is, it's a released mod, and you get to go to things like, as Oblivion players, we're going to love it. It's the same thing with, the Elder Scrolls Morrowinds. I don't know what they called it. But it's going to be the same thing for Morrowind players, going back to old locations, made crispy, into the modern standard, since it takes forever for them to make a game. But it's going to be nostalgic. I mean, I remember the first time when Beyond Skyrim came out, I went into Collateral Temple. And it had been 200 years since, the last time we were in there. And the recent history of it was so exciting to explore because, we know from the Blades that they were hunted down and killed by the Dominion. And you go to Collateral Temple, and you see that. It's been destroyed, it's been sieged. And there's bones everywhere. And the once, great hall where there was a fire cooking and Blades walking around having dinner was now empty and full of snow. And there was a ghost running around. There was someone that was haunted, that was there when it all fell. There's so much that I'm going to enjoy going back to Cyrodiil on its own. Because I'm also interested to find out what happened to the Knights of the Nine. It's always been a burning question. What happened to the Knights of the Nine? And that's going to be one of the quest lines in this. Rebuilding the Order and becoming the Crusader again, most likely. And to find out what happened to them. Because as we know, religious groups aren't the sort of people to go, alright, we won't stop believing our God because that's the new law, or this or that. And throughout history, this Order of the Nine, they've always jumped into wars. I mean, the first time they fell apart was because of the War of the Red Diamond, where many of the members actually joined different sides. And after that, the Order was gone. Those that didn't die were corrupted. And I do imagine that if the Knights of the Nine were still cooking, during the Great War, that they would have joined the Empire because the Dominion would have outlawed Talos worship. And they would have went, no, we are the Knights of the Nine, not the Knights of the Eight. And then those that would have survived might have had to agree to the Knights of the Eight, but they wouldn't have. And they might have been attacked by the Empire or the Dominion. They might have been sieged during the actual Battle of Cyrodiil. And the items have been stolen or taken by the Knights and hidden across Tamriel. That's just a story that I really want to find out. And I want to go across, to the, certain places where you were in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion and just check out what's there. What's happened, like the memorial of maybe like the Battle of Bruma, the big Oblivion Gate and the tombstones, and then recent history. Like, I mean, it's always exciting seeing a place that you've been to and seeing the effect that that's taken hold of it since the last time you were there. But also learning about what's happened since. And that's going to be the really exciting thing about Beyond Skyrim Heartland, and even for the Morrowind dudes, the Elder Scrolls, what do they call it? I don't remember what it's called. Um, I don't remember, but it's going to be beautiful and absolutely nostalgic, and I seriously cannot wait for it. I mean, ever since I found out this project, I've been just waiting for it. Yeah, and it's a patient wait. People will jump on the Discord and shit talk them. I did that. Actually, the first time I got banned, I was telling Khajiit jokes, and one of the devs got angry at me, and I said I'll take my jokes elsewhere. And I walked myself into that one because he damn well made sure I took my jokes elsewhere. Second time was because I talked about slavery. The Empire should introduce slavery. Not like the whole cotton farming slavery, because that's a touchy subject these days. More like the prisoners of war or criminals sort of slavery. And then I think I called people woke when they got all cranky about the whole slavery idea, because it's a big touchy subject these days. But whatever. It's a project that I can't wait for, and I don't really care if I make it to like the Elder Scrolls. If I'm gonna die of cancer one day, and I find that Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But if I find that I'm dying of cancer before like Beyond Skyrim comes out, I'm putting a fucking rand in my mouth. I'm not dealing with that shit, man. I'm not suffering through that. Like, Beyond Skyrim is the extension to Skyrim. It is what will breathe unlimited life to an already immortal game. Like, I don't know how long Skyrim's going to last for. And me personally, I don't know how long I'm going to play it for. I've already been playing it since 2011. Like, is it going to be like when I'm like 40 years old, you know, or 60 years old and I've got grandchildren, I'm showing this old as fuck game that by then looks like an absolute potato? It looks like a PlayStation 1 game? It looks like a Super Nintendo game? Like, is that what's going to happen to me? Am I still going to be playing at that age? If I make it that far, that is. And I think I will. I mean, I've seen comments of people that have been playing, you know, Skyrim or Oblivion, even to this day, that are still playing Oblivion. And they're like in their 40s. And the good thing about, you know, the PC modding community is that you need a computer, right? But at the end of the day, you just need a good computer, and you don't have to worry about upgrading your computer ever again. Unless, of course, you want to get a new game, like myself. I upgraded for Starfield. I'm not going to bash on Starfield. It's a good game. People don't agree with that, that's fine. It does need a lot of improvements, and some things I certainly don't like about it, but I'm not going to call it a shit game. That's just, that's petty. But, I got a brand new PC for that. That was like $3 or $4 grand. And, man, like, I'm running at around 49, 60 FPS. I haven't got any mods that turn it up a bit more, but I'm running at around 60 FPS until I look at boobies. But yeah, it's a damn well good machine. I don't need anything else for like another 6 or so years until I want to play Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5 or whatever the fuck comes out by then. But Beyond Skyrim, man, it's going to be the dream. It's the Elder Scrolls dream. You know, to anyone, even console players, man, like Sky Oblivion's a beautiful. I'm really excited for that because I get to go back to Oblivion and go back to my childhood and go back to the roots. But at the same time, it's, you know, I've played Skyrim for so goddamn long, and the ability to leave Skyrim one day and create new stories across Tamriel, that's crazy, man. Like, just, you know, you're in the cold, snowy lands of Skyrim for 5 or 6 years, right? All of a sudden you're in the hot, murky swamps of Black Marsh. You're in the hot desert sands of the Alakir Desert in Hammerfell. You're in the beautiful, colourful wine fields of Cyrodiil. What else? Like, you've got so many different environments in the game. You're in the fantasy forest of Alinor, if it eventually comes out. That is the only project, like I said, that hasn't been announced yet, and that is the Elder Scrolls. So Beyond Skyrim, Somerset or Alinor. There's projects like that being worked on, but they have been on a hiatus for 5 years, so I don't know if it's still going. But, anyway, you know, just imagine your character right now. You're walking through the snows of Dawnstar, you know, snows of Skyrim, and then you're in the hot Alakir Desert of Hammerfell, and then you're in the swampy marshes of Black Marsh. I mean, that's the dream, dude, to be able to take your Skyrim character out of Skyrim and go to an entirely different environment. Something that, you know, few mods have managed to be able to do. And even Beyond Skyrim, Bruma has done that. Because you're able to go south from Bruma and go into an entirely new biome. And that's where you finally feel like you've left Skyrim. Like, top north Bruma is filled full of snow. And you're kind of like, yeah, it kind of feels like Skyrim up here. But when you go further down towards the Imperial City, or up, down, down. When you go further down to the Imperial City, you start to hit this like sort of green forest, and it's nothing like, it feels nothing like Skyrim. Like, it feels nothing like Volkreath or the Rift or anything like that. Anyway, I've probably rattled on for way too long about sort of beyond Skyrim, because when I get into these sort of areas where it's night and it's beautiful and open and fresh, I just rattle or I think in my head, and when I'm doing these videos, that shit comes out my mouth. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are about the future Elder Scrolls Skyrim modding projects. Things that are going to extend the game and give it even more of an immortal life, like Beyond Skyrim, or even Sky Oblivion, especially Sky Oblivion, and of course Skywind if you're a Morrowind player. So let me know, what are you looking forward to the most, and what can you imagine doing when those mods finally come out? Where do you first see yourself? Who is bashing me? A naked person. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Oh no, turns into a werewolf. Has to be a bloody werewolf. Now, before I was rudely interrupted by that individual, thankfully they were invisible. What I'm most excited to hear about is, what do you imagine doing? Where are you going to put your character when the Elder Scrolls Sky Oblivion, Skywind, or Beyond Skyrim project of whatever country you're excited for the most? What do you imagine doing? And where do you imagine yourself? In what city or what part of that realm? Because for me, it's in the sort of vineyards of Skingrad. I imagine just even my Dragonborn here, walking through the roads beside the Shirley Brothers vineyard outside Skingrad. And so, yeah, let me know where you imagine your character when these mods come out. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you've enjoyed the video if you've made it this far, and I'll catch you in another one.